our guest today is a very interesting person. She has been in the media for the last 3 decades, and she has been working in real estate for more than 2 decades. And media itself, again, is not an easy industry. And the combination of media and real estate is quite a heady cocktail, mocktail, whatever you want to call it. But she's been there, done that, and earned all the respect. A little bit about her. Ms. Jayashree Kurup has been a business journalist, like I said, for 3 decades. She writes on real estate. In fact, I feel proud and privileged that her first book carries a little bit about me as well. So thank you, Jayashree, for that. I think at that time I was a director with DLF and we had met then. And this was probably around 2010 or maybe before, I don't know. But yeah, quite some time back. Jayashree is also a specialist in city management, civic issues, and stuff related to facilities management. She specializes in using data-driven research. So that is a gap which has always existed in our industry. Everyone has been going with gut feel, but not Jayashree. She has gone with data-driven research to generate editorial that is useful to consumers and industry. I think there isn't another journalist who has done media and real estate both the way she has done. And she has known what is going on in almost every organization, in every geography. She's covered pan-India. She has worked with the leading dailies like Times of India, the Economic Times, and Financial Express, all with very different DNAs, and held her own. We have always felt so proud to see her up there that, yes, there is a woman in media talking about real estate. She assessed the Asian real estate markets as the Associate Director Research at New York with IPC Insignia Brook in the early 2000s. As editor of Magic Bricks, she created the first digital channel on real estate and cities. In fact, I feel again very privileged and excited to share with you that I was on her MBTV channel on a Women's Day show. And it was so much fun, I can't tell you, because there were 3 generations on that show.
Yes.
And it's so fascinating to hear the different stories of,
Yes.
30 years back, 20 years back, 10 years back, and ground zero. So I think that was very interesting show. And she took MBTV to great heights with over 1.3 lakh subscribers. No easy task, and especially in those times when the virtual world was actually new to everyone. Now, post-pandemic, we look at it quite differently. She also used meticulous research for policy advocacy, including RERA. And I'm so happy to share with you all, and especially with you, Jayashree, and I would like to invite you also. On the 5th and 6th, we have tied up with the Delhi RERA, and in fact, the chairman will also be coming for the inaugural session. And on 5th and 6th, we kickstart our first NAREDCO program, the coaching for real estate and RERA and real estate essentials. And I'm pleased to share with you all that I am the course director for that. And RICS is our knowledge partner and content partner. Transaction cost analysis, affordable rental housing. These are subjects which probably will be touched upon, but Jayashree did it back then. 2 decades back, 3 decades back, when nobody understood or knew the spellings even. She has recently completed her EDP in digital management from XLRI. So, which means learning is continuous, growing is continuous, and that's the only way you reach these positions. But more importantly, you hang on to these positions. The day you feel you know it all, it becomes difficult. So I'm so happy to share with all of you that Jayashree has just concluded a course with XLRI. And I'm very happy to share with you, Jayashree, that I concluded a course and then finally a test with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And finally, I'm a certified independent director, competent to be on the board of companies.
Congratulations. That calls for applause.
Big shortage of women directors, and we all have to be there. Otherwise, we will not have a voice. So I think we are a generation which just loves learning and moving, and I think we get our joy out of that. That is our hobby. That is our hobby, real hobby. As director, Wordmeister Editorial Services, he now specializes in digital content marketing and offers consultancy to real estate sector. So that is Jayashree. I'm touching upon it briefly, but more importantly, I think all of us are a family today. And the family is as strong as the help we extend to each other. So before she starts her talk, I would like to share with you that my first experience of giving back, in fact, she's the one who gave me that opportunity. One fine day, she called me up and she says, there's something called Indie Village. Have you heard of them? I said, yeah, the name keeps popping up on LinkedIn. So she says, no, they mentor rural executives who understand STEM, but they don't understand presentation. And that's why they get left behind in the race. I said, what do I need to do? She says, you need to block your Saturdays and Sundays for them. And I was like, okay. She says, okay, more from the person who's heading that. I said, all right. And that's where my addiction to mentoring actually started. And now, of course, with Niti Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission and Atal Tinkering Labs, I've consistently been in the top 10 mentors in the country. But there's even eagles need a push. So that push to me was from Jayashree. And I hope that, the things that we talk and share with you are taken in the right spirit, because we are only trying to give everybody a little push so that they achieve their maximum potential. And that's what Mahi Talks are all about. Now it's all for Jayashree. I'm not going to be saying a single word. And the vote of thanks, either Preeti is going to say, or maybe we have a volunteer there, Reena, who's very excited always about giving the vote of thanks. So one of them will give it. But Jayashree, it's all yours, and we are really eager to listen to you.
Hi, everybody. Ananta has been extremely kind about my profile. I have been in this industry for a long time, and like Ananta was there right in the beginning. I met Ananta, was one of my first contacts in the real estate industry, and it was an absolute pleasure to find another woman who knew so much about the industry and was holding her own in a world which was not very favorable to women at that point of time. Today, I see a lot more women coming in, but Ananta was so well regarded, and it was a pleasure to interact with her. Now, let me take you through my journey. I got into real estate by mistake. I was given the beat. I started doing it. I fell in love with it. And I found it was one of the most challenging industries. It was not even an industry at that time. It was just a very fledgling industry. But today, I think that turning point was 1998, when housing finance was made available to the common man, and the first housing and habitat policy came out. That was the time when real estate allowed the entry of private sector, and there was just so much real estate in the market. Now, navigating that has been a minefield for a lot of people, but I think there are certain things that you have to keep in mind. So let me go on. This was something that Paytm brought out. It was about men and women, urbanites like you and me. If you were able to answer correctly, move forward or step back. So it was, have you learned cycling before the age of 10? So most people move forward. Have you done things? And then the questions became, do you make your financial decisions on your own? Have you paid your taxes on your own? And slowly you found that there was a big divide. The men moved forward. Most of the women dropped back. And at the end, there was just, I think, one woman in it, or maybe none. And that's when it was an eye-opener for a lot of people. And it was not only them. It was also people like us who discovered that we were not financially literate, so to speak. So then they said, what has gone wrong? And I've got this in the presentation. Ananta, share it with everybody. People can view it even later. Basically, it was just a context setting. Okay. So when I talk about women in finance, why do even the most progressive women drop off as leaders when they are confronted with finance? Mere 1%, 2% goes forward, but women are intimidated by finance. And that's why I said finance is your game. It actually is, and I'll show you how. Why do we expect fathers, husbands, brothers, sons to give us advice? Even if we don't expect it, they give us advice. So then what happens is that most real estate transactions we find today are initiated by women. Ghar le lein, ye wala lein. We have to live here. We need a 3-bedroom. We need a room for the children. All that comes from the women, but ultimately the many transactions are concluded by men. So do we need to change this at all, or are we okay with this, right? Now, when you talk about buy, sell, and invest, it is real estate, it's mutual funds and stocks, it's gold, art, crypto. The categories are growing. There are so many ways in which you can invest for yourself. Now, what is our strength as women? We are research driven. Intrinsically, women are research driven. They multitask. You manage work, you manage the child, you manage the in-laws, you manage so many things. I mean, we are built like that. Our DNA is to multitask. We're obsessive about the finer details. Like we don't like dust on our tables, we don't like leaving anything unsolved. We like to address it. And we balance risk-taking and playing safe. You do like to take some risks, but you also like to play safe. So that's a strength in you. You are cautious, which is a good thing. When you're investing, caution is a good thing. And you're not scared of asking questions. You say, why? Kaise karu? Kya karu? Kaise karu? And sometimes people get irritated, but so be it. It's your money. You can ask the questions. And you like discipline. As women, we like to be disciplined in whatever we do. And investment is a disciplined activity. So what are our weaknesses? If intimidated by financial decisions is something that I've seen in a majority of the women I see. They are scared of making those financial decisions. They are unsure and scared. And not because they don't know. Some of them are math whizzes, but they're unsure and they're scared of making big financial decisions. They research till the cows come home and the opportunity has passed. Now, research is a good thing, but you have to have finite research and you have to do it on time. And you're quite willing to accept our weaknesses when a stronger voice speaks. Sometimes the male voice can be stronger and it can drown the female voice. And a lot of women don't invest on their own because somebody told them, aise mat karo, aise karo. So then we have mental blocks about our own investing abilities. Can I do it? Can I make all my decisions myself? That mental block is a deterrent. And we are easily persuaded. Aise mat karo, let's do this, let's wait for 2 years, and we give in. And there, sometimes we are right and miss that opportunity. So where do you start? Let me start with some thumb rules. Start small. If you put 1,000 rupees a month, no matter how wrong you go, you've only lost 1,000. Give yourself time to become confident. So start small, gain confidence, and step up. I'll give you a small, I put a cue for myself. When I was a student, I used to be a radio jockey. Throughout my college years, I was a radio jockey in Yuvavani and then in Delhi. That is what we had. There was no FM then. I used to earn a princely sum of 150 rupees a month. And it was a lot of money those days, believe me. That 150 rupees was something that I did not need. My parents were looking after me. They were paying for everything. So daddy said, why just put it into the common till? Why don't you save this for yourself for a rainy day sometime? And every month when I got that check, we would walk down to this post office and we would buy a NSS or a Kisan Vikas Patra or something like that. And these were the investment opportunities then. But I put it there and I actually forgot about it. A few years ago, when I took it out, that 150 rupees gave me over 1 lakh of rupees, which means that it was something that I could do. I didn't do anything differently. I bought a Kisan Vikas Patra for heaven's sake, but it gave me over 1 lakh of rupees because I invested and left it. Now, whenever you invest, keep a short term, a medium term, and a long term goal. Okay. Sometimes it is to buy a dress. I remember saving money to buy a dupatta because I like that dupatta so much. I was in college. I was a young professional. But when you're doing that, you know that itna jod ke itne time mein mujhe bana, right? Sometimes you're saving it for an event. When my child graduates from school, when I reach, say, 50, 25, 30, whatever. These are events. Or you want to remain independent at retirement, which was what I worked towards for the last 15, 20 years. I said, when I retire, I must not have this pressure of having to earn for myself. I would want to work, do the work that I want to do, but my future should be secure. And therefore, I started investing. Now, this short, medium, and long-term goals, keep reviewing it, keep nurturing it, keep monitoring it, altering it, because these goals always help you decide how much you should be investing. Now, long-term investments can be very intimidating. So then you use logic. How much can you spare? If you're earning, say, 1 lakh, it's quite possible that 20,000 is something that you can very easily put away. If you have many debts, maybe 10,000. If not 10,000, 5,000. If not 5,000, 1,000. Whatever it is, squeeze a little bit out of whatever you're earning. And for every lakh, put at least 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 aside. Now, this means that you are squeezing. If you can afford 10,000, put 12. Because that 2,000 is something that, you just don't have to go out once in the month, but that 2,000 extra you can put into your investments. And you will find that it'll give you great dividends as you go along. Now, keep a liquid fund backup. Remember that life is not a smooth path. It's not a straight line. There will be ups and there will be downs. And you must be prepared for the downs. So there must always be cash in your till for a rainy day. 1 month, a salary didn't come, you had an extra expense, there was a health problem, there was a crisis at home. Whatever happens, you must have some money in the till. I know I haven't always done it, and I'm talking from experience that I wished then that I had kept money in the till, because I did have money saved away, but that money was illiquid and I couldn't access it when I needed it. Use professional experts and advisors giving neutral advice. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine is a financial whiz. He never goes wrong in his computations. But when he started investing in mutual funds, he did not get the same return that I did. For the simple reason that I am not an expert. I want to make this clear. Whatever financial advice I'm giving, I'm not a finance person. I'm not a statistician. I'm not an economist. All I am is I have observed people, and I've observed the real estate, the financial assets market over so many years, and I've interacted with so many experts that whatever I'm bringing to you is advice that comes from what I've understood. But professionals, for instance, a financial advisor, his job is to make sure that they understand what's happening, which fund is performing, which mutual fund is performing, which one's not performing, how should you move your money from one to the other. Use them. It's always in your favor to use the experts and listen to the expert advice. And always keep a diverse portfolio. Balance real estate, equities, mutual funds, gold. When you look at your portfolio, you should say, I have it all. And if one goes down, the other one is balancing. And it always does. Real estate and equities have a good correlation. When the stock markets are up, people have money to spend, real estate goes up. Real estate lags the stock market. When the chips are down, people buy gold. The gold markets go up because gold gives that sense of security that no matter what happens, war, anything, the sovereign funds collapsing, but whatever happens, gold is something that will see you through. So you must have everything in your portfolio. And when you invest, you must not feel guilty about withdrawing. If I have put money in, it is my money which I saved for a rainy day. If I find that on the rainy day I need to withdraw it. Money will keep coming and going. Take that money when you need it, use it, but remember to put it back because there will be another rainy day, right? So going back to that radio money, I left it to grow. 250 rupees grew to about 1 lakh. I did not even feel the pinch and even forgot. But many 250s, that is 1 lakh here, 1 lakh there, 1 lakh there. Suddenly, when you need money, you will find that there's plenty of money for you to draw upon. Like I said, save at least 1,000 rupees with a good financial advisor. And here I'm talking about the systematic investment plans. Be a disciplined investor. It doesn't matter if you invest small, but if you invest regularly, the dividends are there for you to see. You can always get enough when you invest regularly. Now, I found my financial advisor only when I was 40. I did not know about a financial advisor, and a friend of mine recommended, and I believe that was the best thing that would happen to me. But it's a good idea to start from your mid to late 20s. There are many youngsters here. I would urge you to make investments a habit today. In your 20s, you have a whole lifetime to save. And by the time there will be crises in your life, but when you hit the crisis, there will always be something to fall back upon. So make investment a habit. And this I keep telling everybody I meet. I've seen that this works. Now, disciplined investing makes you safe, which means that the stock markets can go up or down, but the property markets go up or down. But if you have been systematically investing, you are on the winning side. Review the portfolio, ask for the financial advisor to help, and that keeps you get an alpha over whatever everybody else gets if you have a good financial advisor, right? If the stock markets, I reviewed my savings with my financial advisor, and he said that even in the down cycle, the stock markets gave an yield of about 8.5%, 9%. But the yields that I got was close to 11%. How did I get that? Because we kept moving from funds which were not performing or which were just performing on par with funds which were outperforming the markets. And that's how you get an alpha. So a good advisor can do. But real estate is something that I think everybody should be investing. How much real estate can you manage? Your first house, it doesn't have a right time or a wrong time. If you need the house, it's the right time to buy. Find out what you can afford. And the best way to do it is if you're paying, say, 25,000 rupees as your rent, the EMI should not be more than 30,000. That's what you can afford. You fix the rent of 25,000 because that's what you can afford. When you're buying, make your EMIs not more than 30,000. Now, why am I saying? Because your salary goes up. When your salary goes up, this 30,000 that you paid today will not pinch as much next year as it's pinching this year, because you get a small increment on your salary, and that buffer takes care of that extra that you do. If you underspend, then you find that it is, you could have spent a little more, you could have got a better house. The other thing is that if you buy a very big house, I mean, there are houses that are really attractive and you want to buy it. Remember that if your EMI becomes too large, then you are compromising your lifestyle. When you compromise your lifestyle, there are small things that happen. If your lifestyle is not what you're used to, I mean, if it's significantly different, then you start getting unhappy. Buying a house should be a happy process and not a sad process. At one point of time, people bought real estate it was a once in a lifetime purchase. Today, people are buying again and again and again. In the US, they buy up to 5 houses in their lifetime. In India, it is currently about 2 or 3 houses in their lifetime. So I think it is a good idea to buy what you can afford, but make sure that you're buying the kind of unit that if you want to move away and sell it and then buy another, it should find a buyer. Don't buy outlandish houses. Don't buy houses in outlandish places, because it's very difficult to exit that investment. And like I said, if you're buying something, remember, today you're a buyer, tomorrow you can be a seller. So if you want to sell, you have to have it in a place where there's another buyer you can sell it to, right? And then when you take a loan, take a longer tenure. You will take 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. Take a couple of years to assess how much you can pay. Now, suppose your EMI, like I said, it was 30,000. And then you find that your salary has gone up. I'll give you my example. First of all, whatever extras come, you get a bonus, you get something, use that to put down your principal. Because as you put down your principal, you're lowering the interest that you're paying to the bank. Which means that today, for a 15-year loan, I'm paying X amount as interest. But when I keep bringing down the principal to some relatively reasonable size, I am paying that much less to the bank as interest. Paying back the principal never hurt, but paying the interest does hurt because interest keep going up and down. And when it's up, it can really pinch. But if you put down the principal, that's the way to reduce the interest that you pay to the bank. So when I bought my house to live in, I took a loan of 15 years. But about 3 years down, my salary took a significant jump. I got an international position. I had more money. I brought it down to 5 years. When I brought it to 5 years, my EMI was high. But but my next increment and the next made sure that I didn't feel the pinch quite as much as the first year when I had to pay out a big EMI. And suddenly you find that the principal payback also helps and your EMI pinches less and less. But once I finished paying, I said that that was the money that I could afford to pay. Now I had two options. Either I could buy another house immediately or another real estate investment immediately, or I could give myself a breather and say, let me buy something when I need something. So what I did was, that was the time when I started investing in mutual funds. I put it in systematic investment plans. And then when I found the house that I wanted to buy something that when we are older, we wanted a smaller house. If we needed a smaller house, I wanted an option. I started buying that. And when I did that, I scraped the markets. I did not take my principal. My principal was safe. I told my financial advisor every 5-8 lakhs that I had to pay as my next installment, I said, scrape the markets when the markets go up. So my principal was safe. I scraped the markets to buy my house. And when pandemic hit, my house got delayed. Like most other houses, it got delayed. But because I did not have an interest load on it, it was okay for me. Because I had my principal was safe, my asset was getting constructed, and I had already done all this by scraping the market. I'm not saying that I am a financial whiz. I'm just saying that these are pieces of advice that various people gave to me. And SIPs today, the SIPs that I invested, they are taking care of my old age, as well as the real estate investments. The rent that I get out of that is taking care of our retirement. Both my husband and I can work whatever we do, however much we do, because we have no pressure on us to work, because we have to earn during our retirement years. And I enjoy that freedom. I have lots of work coming to me, but there is no pressure on me to work. So what I'm saying is, investment is something that secures your future. The other thing is that when you invest, I said this in passing earlier, keep your emotions in check. You've come in as an investor, right? Then think like an investor. Don't say, oh, I love this house, I can't ever sell it. But you've got a house that you're living in. If you feel that the markets are high and you're getting a good return for it, exit the investment. Put it into another property, put it into another asset, which will give you returns. But as an investor, keep your emotions in check. Study facts, data. I believe data never lies. If there is a blip in the data, it's either because there's something happening in the market and you have to go after the why, or because the data that you've gathered is wrong. So when the markets are up, sell. When the markets are down, just sit tight. Whether it is real estate, whether it is stock markets, when the markets are down, don't panic and sell. Don't sell at a loss, because if you held on for another 2 years, what goes down comes up. And when it comes up, you can make your money. So just hang on to it and just sit tight when the markets are down. I think women get emotional about investment and sometimes are unable to take rational financial decisions. So the best thing to do is allow the data to do the job. When the data tells you that it's going up, no matter what happens, what emotions, the data brings the rationality into your decisions. And always periodically review your portfolio. This is something that I find makes a lot